Risk is an important thing. Risk is an important event. Risk is something that gives you opportunity to expand, but it also gives you threat to destroy you. My name is Amir Ali and I'm project management consultant. And in this video, I'm going to go into detail about risk management in predictive as well as in agile domain. If you master this video, it will be extremely beneficial for your PMP exam point of view. Before 31st of December, it's always good to know history. Risk was all about opportunity and threats. The life cycle development was majority waterfall predictive. If there was any change, it was controlled properly. If there was any risk, it was controlled, it was monitored, it was managed in a well professional way. But now, after 2nd of January, the PMP has entirely shifted towards hybrid methodology. The feedback that I have received from a lot of students is that exam is more towards agile and hybrid as compared to predictive. This means now we need to know PMP things, we need to know risk, we need to know scope, cost, schedule from both domains. So let's go with the risk from the predictive domain first. In predictive, the first process is plan risk management. You plan for the risk. You plan how you are going to do all the process. Now this thing is important to understand in the planning process. Wherever it is, planning is always telling us how to do this, how to do that. How part is always in the plan. So plan risk management, which will have output of a risk management plan, will tell us what are the tolerance of the stakeholder, what is the appetite of the stakeholder. Is your organization risk averse, means they are running away from the risk, or they are risk seeker, they go fight towards the risk, or are they risk neutral, means they don't go towards the risk, they don't run away from the risk, they took risk for what it is, take SWOT analysis of it, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, threats, and tackle it objectively. What is threshold of your organization and what is the tolerance of your organization. Which tools you are going to utilize, everything is mentioned in risk management plan. So once you have made a comprehensive risk management plan, you go to the real step number 1, that is identifying the risk. That is identifying all the risk. Now this is an iterative process, means whenever a risk is identified, we will again do this, but this gives you an idea. You analyze your documents, project charter, the plan which have you made, your past history, you talk to the subject matter experts, you talk to other experts, you analyze the documents, you check your assumptions, very important, assumptions and constraint analysis, and maybe utilize checklist, may use prompt list like PESTEL, political, economical, social, technological, legal, environmental list. Actually, prompt list is a very good technique to summarize your risk or to give a structure to all the risk. So you do use, as a result, you get risk register. Now, risk register is a very comprehensive register. It can be like smaller like this, or it can be a bigger risk register having all the risk, having there at this stage, having the potential response. Please focus on the word potential. having potential response for the risk, having potential owners of the risk, and later on it will be updated as we move. I'll get into detail in a while. Then the next thing, the next output you produce with this is risk report. Risk report is a weekly or monthly report that is generated, and we discussed that report in our risk review meeting. It gives the overall idea of what the risks are, how to tackle those risks, what are the big risks, and what are the overall risks of the project, all those things. So once you have identified all the risk, once again I'll say all the risk, not the major risk. You have identified all the risk, you move to the next step. What is the next step? Rank your risk. Some risks are very dangerous, they can kill you, they can destroy your organization, whereas most of the risks are very low. So you need to categorize them as very high, high, medium, low, very low, and so on. So you categorize them high, medium, low. You can use bubble chart showing big bubbles for the high risk and small bubbles for the low risk. Or you can use colors, red color, green, yellow, and so on. So you rank the risk. Ranking risk, this is known as perform qualitative risk analysis. It use risk is equal to probability into impact. Risk is equal to probability into impact. So once you have utilized this, you get ranked your risk. Now you can focus on high level risk and put low level risk in the watch list. Now all these risks are ranked. Now our risk register has been updated. Initially it contained risk. Now it has potential, it has probability, it has impact. The risk is equal to probability impact. The risk low, medium, high, ranked risk there, potential owner, potential response. And of course we'll produce risk report that discuss the overall domain, what are the big risk, what are the low risk. Now next process is actually the only optional process in complete risk domain or in all the 49 process. This is the only optional process. What you will do basically is that you do detailed analysis of those ranked risk. It is known as perform quantitative risk analysis. Here you make probability distribution curve, S curve, also known as Monte Carlo analysis, which tell us what is the probability of achieving the project within this cost, within this budget. We have influence diagram checking what are the influence, which activity has the most influence on all of the activity. Then of course we have sensitivity analysis, or also known as tornado analysis, which tell us how one risk ranked can basically damage all the risk. So we have tornado analysis with us, giving us how one risk, for example, if a fire occurs right now in my room, it will damage to which thing? It will damage to papers, electronics, then computers, then books, then wood, and then wall. So we are ranking one risk on all other things, how one risk affect all other things. That is sensitivity or tornado analysis. Then we of course have expected monetary value, how you calculate the contingency reserve, probability into impact, all those things are there with you. So once you have done quantitative risk analysis, you produce risk report. Risk register has already been updated. Here risk response, here risk report is being produced to see the overall span of the risk. A very big difference between qualitative risk analysis and quantitative risk analysis. Qualitative focus on single risk. Quantitative can focus on single as well as overall risk of the project. So we get tornado analysis S curves as an output. Now, since we have this, now we go to the next process. The next process is planning response for them. Since we have already said risk in predictive environment can be negative as well as positive. So we have negative strategies for the risk as well as we have positive strategies to tackle the risk. Negative strategies, let's talk about them. We have avoid the risk. Since risk is probability into impact, the first thing that we should do, we should try to remove the risk by removing the work packages, that is making the probability zero. Maybe we cannot make the impact zero, but maybe we can make the probability zero. So this is avoiding. Let's take an example for COVID. COVID is a negative risk. When COVID occurred, the world locked down. So this was avoiding from the risk. Okay. If you cannot avoid, then you go to mitigate. What is mitigate? In mitigate, if we cannot avoid, we try to reduce the probability. So once the probability is reduced, probability into impact, the risk get reduced. So what right now the world is doing with the COVID through mask, hand sanitizer, physical distancing, all those things, that is mitigation strategy. The third strategy is transfer. Here we transfer the risk to another person. For example, when we take insurance of a car, we are doing transfer of the risk. We are transferring this risk to someone else. Remember this thing. Whenever you transfer the risk, you always have to pay some premium amount to other person. You always have to pay some premium amount to the other in transfer the risk. Let's focus now on positive. We have exploit in the positive. An opportunity presents itself, we have to increase the probability and impact, making sure the opportunity 100% occurred, making sure the impact we get is maximum. So we maximize the probability and we maximize the impact. This is called exploit. Now let's come to enhance. Same like mitigate, enhance. If we cannot do exploit, then we do enhance. In enhance, we try to increase probability or impact. This is an important thing to understand. In exploit, we try to do both things. In enhance, we try to do one thing, probability or impact. The third thing is share. If the opportunity that has presented itself is big enough, so you share it with your partners, you divide it and you get the benefit. For example, there's a plot that you want to buy, but you don't have the finance. You may have 60% or 70%. You need other money. You take a partner, you buy the plot. After a few years, the price goes high. You sell the plot and you divide the profit equally. So that's example of share. So there are two more strategies that is common in both negative risk as well as positive risk. The first one is accept. Acceptance can be active acceptance can be passive acceptance. In active acceptance, we make plans and all those things. In active acceptance, we make contingency plans that if something happen, what to do. And if the contingency plans fail, we make fallback plans. If we don't do anything and if we say if that happens, we will tackle it that, then this is known as passive acceptance. And if something happens, we do workaround for it and we take money actually from the management reserves for the workaround. And the last strategy, this can also be sometime as a number one strategy, is that it is used for both positive and negative. Accept is also used for both positive and negative. So escalate it to the higher authority. Like with COVID, all the government escalated it to WHO and so on. So this is known as plan, risk, response. All the response strategies are there. Once you have made and updated your risk register, the next step is to implement risk response plan. You select risk owner, and it is the responsibility of a risk owner that when a trigger of a risk occurred, he need to implement that response. You may utilize influencing skill to pursue him that please implement on that response. So all the process, when it is being done, we keep on monitoring the risk since we cannot control the risk actually. So we do risk reassessment, keep on evaluating those secondary risk, those residual risk that is left after implement the risk. Secondary risk, the risk that occurred because of implementing one risk. We check our risk audit process. We see how many reserves are left and how many reserves we need more, and we keep on doing this. So this is all about traditional risk management process that is in waterfall or predictive environment. Now what happened in agile? Now it's an interesting thing in agile. We have seen we are making risk register, we are continuously making risk report. We know a value of agile that we don't like documentation, and agile do documentation at the last responsible moment. So of course they don't like to make any kind of reports or register for it. So what they do, they actually write everything on user stories and make a product backlog of user stories. So all the risks that have been identified by the team, what they will try to do is they try to deliver high value, high risk item as soon as possible as the most prioritized item in that. Because as you move in the agile, you try to give more risky item and more value item initially, so as a result less risky item is automatically left. And in order to tackle the risk in agile environment, apart from making high risk high value item as a prioritized, we have risk spike. We also have spike, other type of spike, architectural spike, but the risk spike is specially a user story reserved to tackle that risk. So as the risk occur, we tackle it with communication, with collaboration, and more importantly, we have made information radiator in a co-located room where everyone can see how the risk progress, which risk is about to occur, and we can see the status and we can act on it accordingly. We identify all the risk and we make burn down chart. And as the as the sprint process, as the release process, we the goal is that the burn down chart start moving toward downward trends. This means the risk starts going down and down. So burn down chart is important in agile. So this is all about risk you need to know about your PMP exam. Master this video and you can solve all the questions about risk in your PMP exam.